Shalom, everyone. This is Janice Baca, and you're with me today on Revealing Spirit and Truth here on Lamb Network. You guys, I am so grateful that you are here with us today. And we always have something exciting going on here. And thank you guys. Let's see, I want to see who all's here. We've got Gary and Allie. Welcome. We've got Mindy. We've got Bernie. We've got Gary. Let's see, Gary and Allie. We got Mindy again. So you guys, welcome. And it's great to have you on and chatting with us. And so Brian Williams and we work at Project Truth Ministries, and we have a lot of exciting things going on. And I have him here with me today, and he's got some pretty exciting topics to discuss with you guys and to bring to you from the Coach in Hebrew New Testament. And I'm going to bring him on, but there's a lot that I want to tell you beforehand, a lot of announcements. And Brian and I are going to break this to you. And so let me bring him on the stage. So, Brian, hey, my friend, welcome.
Shalom. Hello, all you
Shalom.
awesome Lamb Network people. It's so great to be on with Janice. Janice, you're looking great.
Thank you.
I'm excited to bring some new things from the coaching that people haven't seen. And I want to tackle a very particular subject, stuff that's out there online. We're going to address that about the coaching and kind of debunk some of these
Yes.
preconceived notions about this manuscript. And
Yes.
it's going to be fun. It's going to be
It
real fun.
is going to be fun. But you know what, Brian? There's some things going on at Project Truth Ministries that is happening. Before we get into the coaching manuscript,
Yes.
we've got some big things happening, guys. And I'm telling you, these are big things that are happening at Project Truth Ministries. We can't go into the full disclosure right now.
Mhm.
However, this is launching Project Truth Ministries even more so than what we have already launched. And let me just tell you, we are the website alone is getting hundreds of thousands of hits. And what I'm really excited about are our friends that are in underground churches in China. And so I want to say hello to our Chinese friends over there that are watching us, Brian. So why don't you tell them hello?
Hello. Nice to see you. I hope you enjoy the content and the information on these amazing manuscripts.
Absolutely. So this guys, they are the number 2 nation that is coming upon projecttruthministries.org. And this is exciting because that means that it is truly reaching the underground churches and the people that need it the most. And so we've got some pretty exciting things going on. Now, what does that mean for me? Because this is now launching into something bigger than it has ever been before, that means that it's more demanding of my time and Brian's time, and of course, our team's time. And so, unfortunately, what that means is that I will have to step down from Lamb Network, and that the 26th will be my last broadcast. But I do want to encourage all of our followers to continue to follow Lamb Network because they're wonderful people and they're still our very dear friends and they have a lot of amazing teachings. But we just have to focus on some of the bigger projects that are at hand in order to get all of this information out to you guys. So, Brian, what do you say about that?
I would say it's been a pleasure and honor working with Lamb at work, and I know they got some amazing things coming in the future. So definitely keep watching this, and also look for us and what we're doing. We're gonna be doing some amazing manuscript work in the future, and we got bombshells after bombshells waiting for everybody. So
Yeah, we
yeah.
do. We do. We did a broadcast, and I see Jeff Brannon on, and so we did a broadcast, guys. That was on the way remnant on
Mhm.
on their
Hi,
YouTube
Jeff.
channel. And so, hey, Jeff. And so, Jeff and Miranda, our beloved friends there at the Way Remnant.
Right.
And the broadcast that we did was wonderful and has reached thousands of viewers. And so, we're pretty excited about that. We went in to validate the Cochin manuscript. And what's really exciting about that is that there's so much information that is getting out now that is, and we're getting the support that we need, the endorsements that we need
Yep.
in order to launch and go out even further.
Mhm.
And so we're on the launch pad and we've been fueled up basically, and we're ready to launch. What do you think about that, Brian?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. It's historic. We're starting to get some scholarly recognition,
Yeah,
and just want to reach out to all those scholars out there that might be interested in examining our translation. Do it. We're inviting you to analyze it and reach out to us. And if you would like to endorse our translation, you don't have to endorse the content or historical relevance or any of the other extra. Just if you want to endorse our translation and say it says what it what they say it says, then we would be very happy to add you to a list. There are scholars starting to be put on a list, and there's a movement building. And
that's
we're
right.
really excited because if we could get if we get this momentum going here, we can make some incredible changes to the system. We can get the narrative to change because the narrative right now is Greek primacy. And the problem is the text does not reflect that. It's just a assumption or a standard that they have always had and nobody's ever really dug into it, except there have been scholars that dug into it and they unlocked the text and revealed the Hebrew waiting behind it. And so we are
Yes,
just kind of picking up from there, picking up their mantle, and we want to change the game. We want to change the way that people look at the Greek. We want to change the way that people put out translations. They put out interlinears with all the
that's right.
information, with all the images. We want people to share their work, and we want it free. We want everybody to
That's right.
spread all of this for free. And you can also play your part, the wonderful, lovely listeners of the Lamb Network. You can do your part by sharing out our stuff. Make a
Right.
TikTok, put something on X, share our
Right.
links, talk about our manuscripts.
Right.
We would very much appreciate that help there.
And one of the things that I say is like learn a subject. Like if it's textual criticism, like what Brian absolutely loves to do, then learn how to do that and teach that as well. Then if it's such as an exciting topic, such as like 144,000, the Four Horsemen, or the Power of God singing, learn that topic and then teach that as well. But if you do something like that, please share with us because we love to see this word get out to the
Mhm.
viewers. We love to see this information to get out to God's people, and it's always inspirational to see that this is really truly become a movement, and a big movement at that. And it just can't express how big a movement it has become. But it's like, so this is where we now put the rubber to the road, and actually now we
Yeah,
lay in that rubber. What do you think, Brian?
yeah, absolutely. And I can hear the wheels turning and screeching as we're as we're getting each chapter published and put onto our
Yes,
website. And
yes,
there's just I'm so blessed to see it, and I want everyone
yeah,
else to be blessed with looking at
amen.
what's in these manuscripts because it just reveals so much of the text. It makes clarifications and puts understanding into what it is you're reading and how it fits with the first century, and it's like nothing else you've ever seen. So
That's right.
I know everybody else will be blessed if they just look at it. Go check it out.
Absolutely. And if you know someone that has the skills of biblical Hebrew, please send them our way if they're interested to work with us. It's a volunteer basis. This is a labor of love that we do. We're not paid to do this, but we dedicate what time we have, what everything that we have, we put into this. And so send them our way. And you know what, guys? You want to volunteer on the team, then, and you have that kind of skill set, contact us and then we will go from there. But I do encourage you, like Brian said, is to learn a subject and get it out onto social media and other platforms. So,
Mhm.
but Brian, hey, you're here for a reason. What in the
Yeah.
world are you bringing to us today? What did you
Well,
find out?
you know what? I wanna tackle a topic that we encounter, especially we've encountered from the very beginning of this manuscript that we've been working on, and that is the presumption or the assumption that the manuscript was originally written in Aramaic or is coming from an
Hmm,
Aramaic source. Particularly, they say, "Oh, this is coming from the Peshitta, translated into Hebrew, and so there's nothing to look at that. You don't need to spend any time on it because it's just from the Peshitta, so nothing to see there, right? And so it was sitting on a shelf, and nobody was analyzing it. And well, we analyzed it,
We did.
we translated it,
We did.
and we verified uh, that it's not coming from the Bashita.
It
But
is
we will
not.
show you evidence tonight. So just because I spoiled it right there, doesn't mean you shouldn't check out this amazing
That's
evidence that
right.
we're going to show tonight.
But you know what, guys?
Mhm.
You need to validate anything that we tell you, no matter what.
Yes.
Get in the habit of doing that, and validate whoever is teaching of any kind. Validate what they're saying, and we're saying that for us to validate what we're saying. Come behind us and look and see if what we're saying is true. Okay, so don't take anyone's word for it. Just go ahead and do that. It's not going to offend anybody. You need to just do that.
Yeah.
And it's a good habit to have.
Absolutely. When you're pursuing the truth, you need to look at everything and go wherever the truth that takes you. Even if the scholars are all saying one thing, well, go look at it yourself and verify. Don't just believe things that have been said. And
That's
that's
right.
why that's why at Project Truth Ministries we're so big on showing you the evidence and showing you everything, showing you
Absolutely.
the images, the transcription, the translation, showing you word for word breakdown, including pulling in other sources and other information. We just want to show you everything, including the good stuff and the bad. Good for us. There hasn't been very many bad. There's been an
That's right.
incredible amount of good. So, yeah, we'll show you everything. That's the whole point of being honest, is showing
Absolutely.
you
And
everything.
that's the way it should be with every manuscript.
Mhm.
And so, but you're addressing something that is important to bring up. What is that,
Yeah.
Brian?
Well, the important thing is that our text is originally from Hebrew, and that's
Okay.
what our stance was.
Okay.
And we have all these first century markers,
Mm-hmm.
and they all point to original Hebrew. Does
Mm-hmm.
not go into Greek and does not go into Aramaic. And so we're going to show that the assumption of the scholars has been wrong. And it's
Mm-hmm.
because they did not check it, they did not verify it. And we're going to check that out
Do you want me
tonight.
to put your PowerPoint up?
Yeah, let's pull it up.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. So the manuscript that we're talking about is these codings: MSOO 132, MSOO 116.1, MSOO 116.2. These are the Cochin Cambridge collection, and they are housed at Cambridge University in the UK, originally from Cochin, India. If you see manuscripts out there posing as the Cochin, and they are
Mm-hmm.
not these manuscript codings, they are not the Cochin. Most of the time, there's people out there saying, "Oh, I got the Cochin," but it's actually one called Gaster, and it's in block lettering. Ours is not in block lettering. Ours is
That's
in a
true.
cursive type Hebrew. So, just know that there's people out there posing like us, but the manuscripts speak for themselves, and we are being very crystal clear with which manuscripts we're talking about.
That's right. Absolutely.
All right. So now let's go into some comparing of the text. We're going to actually look at Matthew. And I want to show you four distinct verses in chapter 6. Now, I could have gone anywhere. I could have gone in many other places of Matthew, but I wanted to grab a block section just because I like these, and these are kind of new, and we haven't actually talked about these in public. So this is
Yes.
kind of another first for everybody. We're making history again. I like
Amen.
that. We like doing that, Janice, don't we? We
We
like making
do.
history.
We do.
We're like, how can we blow people's mind and be historic at the same time? Let's do this. So we're going to
Amen.
look at these four verses. Now, Janice, you and I demonstrated when we went through the book of Revelation, the scroll of mysteries for the people. We demonstrated literally on every page, we had the James Murdoch
Yes.
Aramaic, which comes from the Peshitta,
Yes.
and we had it on every page. So you could see the English, you could see the Aramaic, and you could see that the Cochin is not matching. You
That's
can see
right.
the distinct differences when it stands out. You're like, oh, I see. It's not coming from the Aramaic. It's not coming from the Greek. It's
That's
coming
right.
from somewhere else. And that's another one of our positive markers, is that it's coming from Hebrew.
That's
We
right.
demonstrate that. So we had some backlash of people saying, "Oh, but that's just the Peshitta. You need to look at the Crawford Aramaic. That one,
Right.
that's a good one right there." And so we were like, "Okay, we're honest examiners. We're just trying to follow the truth." And honestly, we didn't have a clue what we were going to find. We were like, "Okay, let's start using the Crawford and check when we find these differences here. We pull up the Aramaic, we'll do the Murdoch, and then we'll do Crawford, and we'll just see what happens." And we stepped out on faith a little bit, Janice, wouldn't you say?
We
Because we,
did. Y
yeah, go
we
ahead.
did in that we started that in chapter 7 because somebody emailed me and says, "Shame on you guys for using the Murdoch," because everybody knows that Crawford is the original, writings of Revelation, and so we said, "Well, okay, so we're gonna do what the honest thing is in chapter 7, we brought in the Crawford, and then what did we find? We go through line by line, and guess what? It still was a translation from the
From the
Greek.
Greek, yeah. And the Crawford matched exactly. I think maybe there was probably 2 or 3
It was
places
few.
where the Crawford did not match the Murdoch, but for
Mhm.
the most part, I mean, you're talking like 98% of the time it
Uh,
matched.
it
So
it absolutely
and
did.
then the differences where those places differences did not match the coaching. So the coaching 100% of the time did not track with the Greek, especially with those unique differences, and did not track with the Aramaic.
That's
And
right.
so both versions of Aramaic.
Right.
So there's no way that the scroll of mysteries that you could say, "Oh, this is coming from Aramaic." But scholars made that jump and said,
They
"Oh, we
did.
found Aramaisms in it, so it must have come from Aramaic." And when you look at these Aramaisms, it's like, "Oh, this is first century. This is stuff that they were using around the Galilee. Like, this is a bigger deal. This is not Aramaic. This is Hebraic. This is Hebrew
Right.
with some touchings of Aramaic in there." And
Right.
so, that's putting the disciples where the disciples should be in their
And,
region and in their time
Brian,
frame.
what also happened is, like, I think it was Dr. Eli from the Israel Institute of Biblical Studies. He had actually one day and a few years ago looked at the manuscript of the Gaster 1616, Manchester Gaster 1616. When he read that, he and I don't know that he read the whole thing, but maybe just a couple of chapters or whatever he did. He says, "Well, this is from the Greek. It was translated from the Greek." Now, it's the Manchester Gaster 1616 manuscript is supposed to be a copy of the Cochin manuscript that we work with today. And it is not a copy, it is not a perfect copy. They made
No.
changes. The scribes made some terrible changes and brought even marginal notes into the verse, and then he changed things. He removed the name of Jehovah many times. Almost all of them were removed, and then it's like there was so many changes that he did move more like it to the Greek, and perhaps that's why Dr. Eli said that that was from the Greek, but it still was not entirely a true statement for the Manchester Gaster 1616. I consider that a very corrupt manuscript because it's not an honest copy
Mhm.
of this manuscript. So I don't ever recommend the Manchester Gaster 1616 for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, and sadly there are people out there using it and just
They
straight up
are.
calling it the Cochin, and it's because they can read it. I mean, that's the
Right.
reason why they're liking the Gaster. They're like, "Oh, it looks pretty clear and easy." The
Right.
Cochin is a little hard to read. You have to be taught how to read it.
Right.
So I completely understand why they just defaulted to using it, but they're actually doing dishonest work. They're actually
Right.
being untrue to what the manuscript is and what it
Right.
says. So, but let's continue. Let's
Yes.
let's let's go on to look at some of these verses here. Now we're going to see some very unique um, markers that will show you the divergence. So we're not going to be seeing the Cochin giving us evidence of Greek or Aramaic. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling this, but this is going to be really cool because I'm actually showing you how to do text criticism. This is how we do analyzation. You have to look for specific words and the powerpoints of each verse, and then you compare them and you see, okay, what's missing, what's here, and then you can tell a story from it. So we're we're going to see the story unfold here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take you to Matthew 5. I mean, sorry, Matthew verse 6, verse 5. And this is the Greek English. So we're going to read it in the English first. And it says, "And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen by man. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward." Now, I have some words here underlined for the audience, and I want you to pay attention to these. Okay, we got hypocrites, we got love, we got synagogue and corners of the streets, and then we have they have their reward. Have. All right. Now, let's check out the coaching. Let's do some comparison here and see, does it match? Is this coming from the Greek? What's the similarities? What's the differences? All right.
Right.
So it says, when you pray, your prayer should not be short term, like those who are accustomed to stand and pray in the markets and the streets before the eyes of the people, for you will lose your reward. Okay, so we have some very distinct differences here.
Yes.
Notice we do not have hypocrites.
No.
That is a key pivotal marker. Okay, this verse is about those hypocrites, right?
Right.
According to the Greek and English. But we're talking about the people who are praying in the markets. And so the point is, versus long versus short. So this is short term in the coaching. So that's fitting with what's happening.
Right.
Also, it says in the Greek, it says, for they love to pray. And notice we don't have love to pray. We don't have love in there.
Wow.
And so that's a very unique, oh, okay. And then it goes on to say, in the synagogues and the corners of the streets. And then you look at ours, we don't have synagogues or the corners. We just have in the markets and streets. So
Yes.
So we got some very unique things going on here. Let's continue on in this verse. You can see at the very end of it. Now, I thought this was fascinating. I think this
Yes.
matches up with the Torah even better. It says they have their reward. Okay.
Right.
But ours says they lose their
The
reward.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty distinct, because we know that our reward is eternal life in the kingdom.
Right.
That's a reward.
Right. And so here's a difference, guys. If this was translated from the Greek to Hebrew, then you would see some similarities greater than what you see right here, and you don't. Okay, we don't see that, and this is one. So that's one verse that you're saying, okay, now this is definitely not a translation from the Greek. We know that the Cochin manuscript is not a translation from the Greek. We put the verses that are Greek to English, we'll put that in the manuscripts. And we also, when we do our videos, we'll pull up King James Version. And you guys also can compare of your own accord and look and see what, is it a translation from the Greek? And it definitely, in every case, is not a translation from the Greek. And so now we move forward to see, is this a translation from the Aramaic? And of course, we continue to show that and demonstrate that in the manuscript, in the translation, the booklets that we publish for you guys.
Yeah, we'll go to the Aramaic, but I just want to make this one point. So, like, if you're a scribe, right, and you're writing, you're not going to toss out hypocrites. You're just not going to do that. You're not going to toss out synagogues, and you're not going to switch the reward stance. You're going to keep in losing, or they will have their reward.
The reward, right?
And so these are things that should be in the text, but it's not there. So it shows you it's not coming from Greek.
Right.
But yeah, like the wages of sin is death. The wages is something you earn. It's like a penalty that you've earned. It's not something that you wouldn't call it a reward. It's called a punishment. It's something you earned. You are guilty, so then you earned the punishment. And so I just found that fascinating here, that it goes from them losing their reward. Well, your reward will be life eternal, to lose that is losing your reward.
Right.
And so then you're getting your punishment. So I feel like
Yes.
the ending of this completely matches in step with the rest of the Tanakh and
Yes.
the rest of the New Testament. I just think it's so more in step with Yeshua's message.
I think it is in step with Yeshua's message, right? And
Mhm.
so, of course, Yeshua's message goes all the way back to the Torah. But
Yeah.
hey, let's go ahead and continue on, Brian.
All right. Let's check out this Aramaic. Oh yeah, custom. I just wanted to point out the custom is a Mishnaic word. You can see
Ah,
it
that's
here.
yes, of course it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. But and then to clarify, matching the Greek, because people are like, oh, which Greek were you talking about here? Well, the Byzantine and the Alexandrian, both texts agree with this verse. So the Greek is the same in both of them. So there's no
Okay.
disagreeing.
Well, good. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
bringing that up.
Yep. Now let's check out the. Oh, yeah. So I repeated the Kochin, verse 5, and then now let's look at the Murdoch Aramaic.
Okay.
And it says, and whoever you are praying, you shouldn't be like the pretenders or actors. And that also goes back to hypocrites because
Right.
that was a Greek term for people who would put on masks and be
Right.
actors. So that means the same thing, hypocrites there, who love standing. Notice we have love standing in the synagogues and the assemblies and on the corners of the marketplaces, praying so that they might be visible to the sons of mankind. And truly I say to you that they have received their reward. So again, they earned, received, they get their reward. That all this is matching of the Greek.
It is matching up with the Greek. So
Hmm.
again, that's showing this is coming from the Greek to Aramaic.
Right.
So very interesting, Brian, that you would bring that up.
Yeah, and it's so cool to see the coaching completely standing alone, away from the
Yes,
Greek and away from the Aramaic. And
absolutely.
we get that pushback. People online, they just Google, oh, what does people say? What do the scholars say about this manuscript? And they're like, it comes from the Peshitta. And then you look at
Yes.
the Peshitta and you're like, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
All right. Now I want to take you to verse 6. This one's
Okay.
a cool one. I like this one a lot. This is the English here. It says verse 6 in chapter 6. But you, when you pray, go into your room, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place, and your Father who sees you in secret will reward you openly.
Yes.
So the words I have here underlined are room, father, and father. We know that's talking about the Father in heaven. Okay. Verse 6 in the Kochin, it says, however, when you pray, enter your house.
Hmm.
So it doesn't say room, it says house. And I think I have the Hebrew here. Yeah, there we go. Janice, would you like to pronounce this for us?
Yeah, leverecha, that's a bechecha. And so this is like, so
Belonging
we're
to the house.
yeah, belonging to the house.
Mhm,
So beit. So
mhm,
this house is beit, and so this is belonging to the house. That lamed is a direct as a preposition, and
mhm.
so no, that's not a room. That's a house.
That's a house. And you can see, like, if you're translating, you're not going to mix up room and house.
Yes.
And,
No.
if you think about the ancient times, a lot of these houses were a single room. And so you would have a one door. And so
Right.
you see here it says close your doors or door
Yes.
and pray to
Right.
your hidden Elohim. Notice it says Elohim in ours. This is God.
That's true.
We don't have Father. And then it goes on to say, and he who sees in secret rewards you by openly revealing. So it's kind of the same at the end, but notice that the Greek has father and father, and ours just has one time Elohim. And so that's not something you're going to mix up if you're
Right.
copying from the Greek. And we have Elohim here, showing
Right.
it's a diversion here.
It's interesting that we would have Elohim and they have Father. That is
Mm,
fascinating.
yeah. And then just to clarify, I checked Byzantine and Alexandria. Both texts agree. So We don't need to look at any other Greeks. That's what both of them say. Now let's go on and look at the Aramaic. Let's check that one out. All right, verse 6 for the Aramaic. But you, when you pray, enter your
Wow.
room. We got room there. And close your door and pray to your Father. We have Father there, who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will repay you in
Wow.
the open. So the Aramaic is matching the Greek.
The Greek
And
again.
yep. And again, we
Wow.
see this throughout all of our manuscript, but I'm showing you a block of just 4 verses in a row. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
And it's showing itself not to be from Aramaic.
Right.
All right. The next one I want to take you to is verse 6. And this one is verse 7. Sorry, chapter 6, verse 7. And it says in the Matthew, and when you pray, do not use vain repetitions as the heathens do, or heathen, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. And so I don't hate these verses. I like these verses. I like when it's saying they'll be doing vain repetitions as
Right.
the heathen do. Don't do anything the heathen do, right?
Right. Don't do anything that the heathens do. That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, let's check out the coach and see what the coach
Okay.
says. So it says in verse 7, and whoever is praying, do not speak like the hypocrites. So now we have hypocrites.
Wow.
Previous 2 verses back, we didn't have hypocrites. Now we
Right.
have hypocrites here. So maybe that influenced how they were translating.
Yeah.
But it says, who speak much in order to be heard. So
Right.
we don't have repetitions.
We
We
don't.
don't have heathens.
Right.
We don't have any mention about them thinking, for they
Right.
think that they will be heard. There's no
Wow.
think. That word think is not present in ours.
Right.
So that's
Interesting.
very interesting. Yeah. If this is a copy over from the Greek, you would see these main sticking points: repetition,
Right.
heathen, and think. I mean,
Right.
those are the power points of this sentence. These 2 sentences, really.
So, and just to clarify,
Yeah.
if this was a translation from the Greek, then we would see these words. We definitely would see them, even if there's a little bit of phrases that are a little slightly different. We definitely would see these key phrases, key words in
Mhm.
the Hebrew, and we are not seeing that,
No, they're not there.
which is really interesting.
Yeah. Or we'd even find things that are similar to it. So like
Right.
something to repetition, you would see it
Right.
spelled out more, like they say their words over and over would be another
Right.
way of saying repetition, but we don't have
Right.
that here. So
Right.
very unique in what we have. And in
Yes.
fact, there's, to my knowledge and to date, we haven't found any manuscripts like this. I mean, maybe the
No.
Shintos comes close and a lot of overlap and a lot of similarities, but our manuscript is still unique to
Right.
itself so far.
It is very unique. And hopefully one day we'll find even a better one. I would love to see that,
Yeah,
and so we'll keep searching and hopefully one day that'll come up.
absolutely. I think that there's going to be more manuscripts discovered.
I hope
I'm
so.
actually pretty hopeful of China. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
that would be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, because like, all right, when the Soviets fell, they had all these manuscripts on library shelves just collecting dust. And I'm
Yes.
thinking like, okay, what's in China that's being hidden in this,
Right.
in someone's closet or something, or maybe in libraries that nobody knows about and can't get to.
Right. Well, now we need to maybe ask our friends in China,
Yeah.
hey, you guys, well, what do you have over there?
Yeah. Is there any Hebrew New Testaments? And if so,
That's right.
take
And
pictures
you
of
never
them and
know.
send them
We
to
may have
people.
some new friends in China that would be able to find it for us.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, picking up. So I checked the Alexandria versus the Byzantine. The Byzantine is the one on the screen. The Alexandria says thoughtless repetition. So they add
Yes.
thoughtless in there. And
Yes.
notice our Cochin doesn't have the thoughtless in there either. And then for
Wow.
the heathen, it uses Gentiles specific, which I thought was
Wow.
kind of neat, using the nations there.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, ours doesn't contain that either. So
Yes.
we're not like the Alexandria, and we're not like the Byzantine. We're
Wow.
not. And now let's see what the Aramaic says here and does here. So it says, and when you pray, don't be wordy like the pagans. Now they really use pagan. I mean, that is the
Wow.
Aramaic word there. I had to check behind that. I was like, really? Is that pagan? Yeah, it's definitely
Wow.
pagan. So so those pagans, man, they're just wordy. Okay. Let's just wrap this up, man. Why are you praying so long? But anyway,
Wow.
anyway, so it says, for they hope that by many words they will be heard. So
Wow.
that's kind of like think, you have think and hope. They're kind of in the same vein. So even the Aramaic still kind of fits and agrees with um, the Greek. Seeing it says, don't be wordy. Wordy kind of fits with repetition. So, again, the Greek and Aramaic are in agreement, but the Cochin it's standing alone.
So the coaching manuscript continues to stand out in significant differences all the
Yeah.
way through. And, we found that time and time again. And so a lot of times, Brian, what we're finding is that people that are bringing this up, they haven't watched any of our videos to see that we've done this analysis, comparative analysis, all through Revelation. And now we've
Mhm.
started on Matthew.
Right.
And if they watch this, they can see clearly that there are big differences between the Cochin as well, from the Greek and the Aramaic.
Right.
And so we truly need to encourage people to go and watch those videos because we do go through every single one of those that they need to see.
Yeah, and when people are like, "It comes from the Prashita, you didn't show any evidence." I'm like, "Dude, I spent like a whole year showing evidence. What are you
Right?
talking about?"
There was a year
I
and a half. It was over a
Yeah,
year and a half. So
yeah,
yeah. I mean, we
yeah,
we put a lot of effort into it, but no, they don't have. They need to go back and watch the videos, and
mhm,
and the reality is we've put a lot of time and effort into this, and we can direct people to those videos, but we can't have this email type conversation to go through the whole
yeah.
analysis all over again when we've already published that on video form that they could go through. We can't, in other words, I'm sorry to say, we can't spoon feed people. We've got
Right, I
all
mean,
of the information out there.
we've given them the manuscripts, we've given them the
Right,
translation and the
right,
interlinear, and then we
right.
gave them a walkthrough series. And
Yes,
so if they are not willing to look and read that stuff and watch it, then, so be it. But that's what we're doing. We're doing
yeah,
all this to affect what is out there. What is
that's
the
right,
the initial stance of these manuscripts? And it needs to change. They need to
that's
update
right,
it. When they go on Google, that needs to be taken down. It needs to be destroyed because we're
right,
finding abundant amount of information and evidence to suggest this thing ain't coming from the Peshitta.
right,
Stop saying that.
right. It is not. And I'm glad that you're bringing this up
Yeah.
because, a lot of people really need to understand what they're looking at
Mm.
and at least go through the analysis and prove it themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah. Let
glad.
me let me continue on to the next one.
Sure.
Oh, again, we got a little lion. Oh, that's actually bad. We got a lion behind that lamb.
Oh,
Oopsie.
yeah. So sorry.
Just ignore that a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Verse 6, chapter 6, verse 8, in the Matthew says, "Therefore do not be like them, for your father knows and the things you have need before you ask him." So this is talking
Right.
about prayer, and God knows what you need before you ask.
Right.
So let's check out the Cochin, verse 8. Don't imitate them, so don't be like them. So that's the
Right.
same as the Greek there. For your father, again, we don't have Elohim, we have father, so all that's tracking.
Yeah.
But then we have this unique phrase, who is in heaven
Amen.
answers you before you ask him. And
Wow.
so we have a unique little spot, little marker there. Who
That's
is in
right.
heaven? Your
Who is
father who
in
is in
heaven?
heaven.
That's right.
That's a powerful statement right
That is a
there.
very powerful statement because there's like no ifs, ands, or buts. It's
Mhm.
our heavenly Father who's in the heavens. It's our God.
Yeah. And
Amen.
so you could always be like, "Oh, the scribe must have added it." Okay, but we have all these divergents here.
Right.
Why doesn't the Greek have it?
Right.
This is important. This is a good statement. This is
That's
coming
right.
from a different source. That's why,
That's
ladies and
right.
gentlemen. So when you look at the Byzantine and the Alexandrian Greek, they both agree they do not have who is in heaven. Both of them
Wow.
don't have that, but the Cochin does. Now
Wow.
let's check out the Aramaic. The Aramaic says, "Therefore, do not be like them, for your Father knows the things you have need before you ask him." Again,
Mhm.
the Aramaic is matching the Greek,
It
and it does
does.
not contain what we find in the Cochin. Therefore, the
Every
Cochin
single
is
time.
not matching the Aramaic.
That's right. And that's what we found in the Revelation too, right? It's always
Yeah,
matching the Greek, whether it's Murdoch, Crawford, or whatever. It all
yeah,
seems to always match the Greek.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, this is truly amazing stuff, people.
Right.
We're showing that the Cambridge Cochin collection does not come from the Aramaic. That is a big deal. I mean, these people
Right.
out here, um, they need to see this. They need to see this information. They need to,
Right.
like, people, we need to send this out to people and show
Right.
them that, hey, there is something amazing happening right now with this manuscript. Let me get
Right.
this down here. Let me take
Nope.
that down.
Okay. Let me
Yeah, there we
actually
go.
get us up here closer.
Yeah. So let me just repeat that. Ladies and
Sure.
gentlemen, we need to send out this message to the world that there's something big happening right now
Hmm.
with what Project Truth Ministries is doing with this manuscript research.
Hmm.
We are unfolding the amazing finds in this coaching collection
Right.
of Hebrew New Testament, and it's showing itself not to be from Greek and not to
Right.
be from Aramaic, and is coming from a first century Hebrew source. Now, again,
Right.
this is not the physical copy that Matthew wrote down and the physical copy that John wrote down. That's not what's happening here. These are copies of copies of copies. How many
That's right.
copies? I'm not sure, but I know at least 3 times it's been copied over.
Right.
And what's in these manuscripts shows itself to be truly amazing and game changer for all text
Right.
criticism and biblical studies. And we all need to share this out. This is so important. This is
That's
history
right.
in the making right now.
That's right. You know what I love about it is that, Brian, many times that we're now able to connect the New Testament, like quotes or a paraphrase or whatever, we can, connect it all the way to the Tanakh. And that's important that we're able to see this Hebrew to Hebrew. And, we've seen that like the four horsemen, we've seen it in
Mhm.
the 144,000, we've seen it
Yeah.
in a lot of things, such as the power of God singing. And there's so many different connections back to the Tanakh that now you see this seamless writing that has been preserved over time, and the style and the information, which is exactly what we're looking for. And I think it really it's more than just studying the Hebrew, studying the text, because ultimately the bottom line is that we grow spiritually from this, and that we learn and how to walk in his ways and to grow from that. And so this text is going to be, I think it's actually now launching out like never before. And we're already hitting many hundreds of thousands of people are hitting on the website. And we see that now, and it is absolutely phenomenal what is happening. And just the idea that the teachings that you and I do, the break station 5-minute teachings that we do on Haderic Radio, that guys, Haderic Radio is an amazing radio station that we do station break teachings for. That is reaching the underground churches of China, and China now has really latched on to this. And there's a reason for that, because this is something that is truly an inspirational manuscript. So it goes beyond scholarship. It goes into the spiritualness and the message, the true bottom line message that Jehovah was sending us and is sending us to this day, because this is an alive today message. And there's many things about the end of days that is in here. What do you think about that, Brian?
Yeah. I absolutely agree. People will be completely blessed, and it will transform your world when you
Yes.
look into what is in these manuscripts. And
Yes.
particularly one of the things, Janice, that we come across often is the distinct differences that match with the Tanakh and they match with Torah and they match with Yeshua's message that he didn't come to do away with the law. He didn't
No.
come to change the law in any
Right.
way. And that these unique spots, like what we see in chapter 5, there are places within the Sermon of the Mount that now shifts back to upholding and promoting Torah. And
Right.
so if I'm a lover of the Bible and I'm walking in obedience with God, because it says that if you love him, keep his commandments. If you look at these verses,
Right.
it gives you so much more power and comfort in knowing that I am doing the right thing, and it makes the text just come alive and connect so much better. Where the Greek is kind of disjointed and kind of dancing around on subjects, and you're like, that's very ambiguous. What exactly is he saying in these
Mm-hmm.
verses? But when you look at the coaching, it's very clear. And one of those in particular where was in the Sermon on the Mount, and Janice, we will release this soon. I'll come back to that. But it,
Yes,
it directs people back to love,
it
and it
does.
directs people back to keeping the commandments because of love. And so these are
That's
very important things that as believers we need to know. We need to know it. What does
right.
that text say? What does
Right.
it say? How does that link up? Oh man, that fits so much
Right.
more better. There's so much more understanding that I have gained from seeing it in that light. Now,
Absolutely.
now let me go back. So, Janice, you and I,
Yes.
we've recorded chapter 5 in Matthew series,
Yes.
Amazing Discovery series.
Yes.
Now, I have to do some editing so we can get that sucker out.
Yeah.
That is going to be amazing. Isn't that going to blow people away?
That one really is going to blow people out of the water. I think you guys will love that. In fact, for Matthew chapter 5, we had to go verse by verse. We couldn't miss
You
anything on
really
that one.
did.
Like we said, we were going to hit the highlights of the verses, but this one we couldn't pass it up. It had to be a verse by verse thing. So that's coming out very soon, guys. I think you will just
Yeah.
absolutely love the findings in this, and so will
Mhm.
blow your mind.
Yeah, and it's gonna be in 2 parts because there's so
Yes,
much in
there's
there.
so much information.
We found so many bombshells
Yes,
that, we just had to break it up. It has to be in
yes,
2 parts, and so you're gonna be you're gonna love it. It's
absolutely.
the things that are in it are going to greatly impact you. I assure you. You'll see these
Right,
verses in a different light, and you'll be like, "You know what? That fits and makes so much sense." And
right.
it's something that we experienced when we were going through the scroll of mysteries verse
Yes,
by verse. We were
absolutely.
seeing things and we're like, "Oh, that makes so much more sense."
It did.
That's the difference of a manuscript being written in its original language
Right,
versus being passed on to the next language and the
right,
next language and the next
right,
one. And so each time you change languages, you're losing the information.
right.
You're losing a little bit of the
You
the
lose
message.
depth of it, right? And it's like, and that's
Yeah.
the whole point. And when you capture the pre-translated message, now you've got the full meaning and the depth of it, and that's what we're looking for.
Mm,
So it goes beyond scholarship; it goes to the spiritual level. And
yeah,
so, absolutely, what we need to get out to the people, and it is getting out to the people, and people are recognizing it, and they're stepping up, and they're now even promoting this information. So we're excited about that. We're
yeah,
excited
yeah,
about what's coming. And so, Brian, did you have something else to
yeah.
show, or
Oh, no, that's the
that
end
was
of
it?
my presentation, but I definitely wanna stick this point out there
Okay.
because I'm getting messages from people that says, "Oh, I looked up online and it just says it's coming from Peshita." Okay, but that is old information. That is old information that when they got the manuscript, somebody did a spot check and said, "Oh, I saw some Aramaic stuff in there." Then that must be from Peshita. Boom, slide it to the side, let it sit on the library shelf and collect dust, and the scholars ignored it. And you know what? There is a conspiracy here. I want to touch on this conspiracy. The
Yeah.
conspiracy is that the Jewish world, the Jewish
Yes.
academic world, they look at this manuscript. It's in Hebrew. They're like, "Ah, that's New Testament. We don't
Yes.
care about New Testament. We have this big wall here. Anything that's New Testament, we chuck it over the wall. We just ignore it." And then
Yes.
the Christian scholars, the Christian seminary leadership, what have you, they all put their hat on the Greek. They say,
Right.
we've learned everything we need
Right.
to learn from
Right.
the Greek. There's no reason to check out anything else.
Right.
We have Greek supremacy, and we don't need to be looking for Hebrew. There's no Hebrew. There's no reason to look for Hebrew until Janice, say until,
Until.
hallelujah, until they started documenting with photos and digitizing the
Right.
manuscripts.
Right.
And then those digital copies got put online, and
Right.
they started making it a world effort, started making an effort of libraries to publish
Right.
everything online for the public to see.
Right.
Praise God that that happened, because
Amen.
then manuscripts from around the world that have been hidden away, nobody knew about unless you were in the system, looking down the list of all the different manuscripts. You're like, oh, look at this one. This is interesting.
Right.
Unless you knew exactly where to go, you couldn't find it. And then you'd have to pull it, and then you'd have to have it opened up and looked at it. But
Right.
because they're digitizing things, that makes it available for people to do research work. Now, ours, which is amazing, ours was not digitized. The
It
coaching
wasn't at that
collection
time, but you know what it is
at the
now?
time,
At
it
the
is
time, it
now.
was not.
That's right. It was not
Yes.
digitized at the time we started our work, and that was a blessing to us, and probably a reason why this manuscript was not seriously looked at, not
Right.
seriously analyzed,
Right.
because you had to fly all the way to London. You had to
Right.
go, and you had to talk to the right people, and then they'd have to
And
pull
then
it
get the
out and put it in
photographs.
front of you,
Right.
and then they would let you look at it. But
Right.
nobody was looking at it.
Right.
Nobody was
But
pulling it out
now
and looking at
that we're doing this, now it's digitized. Now people are looking at it. And now you can pull it down from the internet and actually do analysis of their digitized version of it.
it. Mhm.
And so this has actually started a movement.
Yeah.
A lot of people contacted Cambridge University about this, and so this has started something. And that's exactly what we wanted to do, is to start something. We're wanting people to take an honest, heartfelt look at this manuscript, and consider everything it says, because there are pretty significant differences in this that actually changes your church doctrine. And
Mhm.
that's honestly, it goes back to the Tanakh. It actually connects us back to the
Yeah.
Tanakh, and corrects the church doctrine, I should say.
Mhm.
And I haven't found a case where it hasn't at this point in time. But
Mhm.
this is what we're looking for, because ultimately it's our walk with our God. And that's what we're looking for, is the
Yeah.
correction and the correct words in order to walk uprightly before our God.
Right. And we kind of said that when we were doing our walkthrough study, especially for the scroll of mysteries. We said, listen, um, text criticism is very difficult. If you can't handle it, we understand.
Hmm.
But in this, you will see things, kind of wacky or small, random doctrinal beliefs that mainstream, maybe not all mainstream, but a
Hmm.
lot of mainstream Christians will hold. When you get into this manuscript, they fall away. I mean, the
Hmm.
clarity of the Hebrew is amazing, and so
Hmm.
the ambiguousness of the
And
Greek
hmm.
kind of falls away, and so those places that you thought it said one thing, once you see the Hebrew, it says something different. So it kind of
Hmm.
melts away some of those doctrinal beliefs that people have created, especially for end times with the Scroll of
Right.
Mysteries. Um, it's so much more powerful. The Cochin Scroll of Mysteries is so much more powerful, tight, clean, delivers more information. So,
And we have a comment here about people should
mhm.
press other teachers that claim their information is good to show their work. And that's exactly what we've
Yes.
been doing, is we've been highly encouraging other teachers to just show your work. That's just simple as it is. I know that universities, they require you to give them, and should require you to give them, acknowledgement that the manuscripts came from them. And then, they give you permission to use the images, for which we've been given the permission from Cambridge to use their images. But then it's like, even if all you show is the transcription and the translation, at least show that. But I love seeing the images, because I know how easy it is to miss a yod that is there, which is actually could be a form of Aramaism. So we do encourage all teachers that are doing this and saying this is the most real and authentic revelation to date. We want you to demonstrate that. We want you to show us
Yeah.
your work. We want to see the images. We want whatever you're using. We want to see what verse comes from what manuscript. We want to see the transcription. We want to see the translation. These are things that are important to us and people that we're teaching. It is also important to them. So, Brian, you have about
Mhm.
15 seconds. What do you want
Yeah.
to end on?
I want to end with this one point. The coaching collection does not come from the Peshitta, and we have put out so much evidence to prove that fact.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Brian.
Mhm. Yeah.
Brian, I love having you on because you're so upbeat and you're just my buddy, and it's great to have you here. But ladies and gentlemen, again, I'll have one more broadcast next week. Then I will be going off of Lamb Network, but I will be bringing Brian back on because we have some more things to show you. But we do ask you to continue to love up on Lamb Network. They're great friends of Project Truth Ministries. So it's just that my time now is for these new projects that are coming, that are now advancing this for the kingdom of God. And it's just a requirement that we have to do. But you know what? You're still going to hear from us. You still want to follow us on Project Truth Ministries. So be sure to follow us there. We have lots of information coming out, so don't forget to look for us. But other than that, you guys, you stay tuned and we'll see you next week. We love you guys and blessings to all of you. If you missed today's show or want to watch it again, or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lambnetwork.tv, where you can find this show and all the other live Lamb show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell someone about the Messianic Lamb Network. We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussions, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the lambnetwork.tv website. I'm Janice Baca, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.